Hi, so Blizzard keeps saying they want us out and about in the world, and to this end they've introduced what? World quests, which they encourage us to do pretty much every day with the emissary cash rewards. Micro holidays, but they're only so often. War mode as a big reason to try and get us out and about in the world. But for the majority of players, it's just not doing it. It's either not rewarding enough or the content itself isn't really what people are going to enjoy doing. So the end result is still the same. We're still not just the majority in cities, you might get that in any game, but we're still almost exclusively in the cities, pottering around, stood by a mailbox. Now, for other games, they manage to get people out and about with ease. The solution to the issue are fairly straightforward, and it's sometimes really strange to try and work out why Blizzard don't get it. After all, there's been times in the past when other games have had really great ideas and Blizzard have taken it on board and not only effectively copied it, but made it much better. They don't seem to be doing that in this regard. They keep saying they want us out in the world, and yet they don't do the very obvious things that are proven to work in World of Warcraft. And I've come to a strange conclusion, which I joked about in the past, but I think it's now true. The game's developers are all loot whores. So that's a bit of a strange statement for me to come out with there. Let me explain in a few different ways. First of all, in World of Warcraft, the game attempts to reward us for doing regular content with power upgrades. Now, if we, for example, look at something coming on the PTR in terms of things that people are excited about, new animations. It's a thing that people ask all the time when a new expansion is announced. As soon as the alpha opens up, people are asking about, oh, new animations. Whenever any new patch is coming, oh, I hope they redo this spell, or this spell's been looking like this for years and years and years. I hope it gets redone. And then when a spell does get redone, ooh. But then there'll be other people who go, I prefer the current version. I don't want to go to that new version. So we have a situation where in the PTR coming, for example, in 8.1, the patch that's going to be out next, we're going to get new spell animations, some more than others. And some people will be delighted and some people will be upset by this. Now, if only there were a way to please everybody and use it to get people out in the world as well. Oh, wait, there is. Instead of actually just putting new animations automatically onto the spell, it's right, there you go, you're all having that. It's simple. What you do is every time there's an update to an animation, instead of just mapping it onto the spell so we lose the old one, you just create it as a glyph, which is a reward for completing an achievement. Achievements that are already in the game. There are already hundreds of achievements in this game that give you no reward at all, other than the achievement points. Sure, that's great for achievement hunters. They like to get those points. Brilliant. But why not just put a cosmetic reward behind it? This could be it. They could announce, right, there's some new animations. Oh, great, I really like that. How do I get it? Well, you have to get to Exalted with this faction, or you have to go out and complete your Pathfinder Part 1, or whatever other achievements are in the game. When you complete that achievement, you get this. Obviously, commensurate with the reward. If it's a minor spell update, then maybe it's an achievement that doesn't take that long at all. But put it behind some content that's going to get people out and about and excited for their cosmetic reward. And for the people who don't like that new animation, well, they've still got the glyph they already got the last time it was updated, if it ever was, so they can use that as well. You're giving people free reign over what animations their spells have, as well as encouraging people to get out into the world. Then there's on the next one. Now, when it comes to transmog, when that was introduced, was absolutely fantastic. And it proved something else as if it needed proving as well anyway. Up to that point, gear just represented power. That was all it was. It was a power upgrade. The problem with power upgrades, however, is that they are very transient these days. It was, I suppose, always true to a certain extent, but much more true now. The gear you obtained 6 months ago is now trash. Even the legendaries you got 6 months ago is complete and utter trash. But the Mage Tower you were completing 6 months ago on your 36th spec, or however many you did, I did too. That isn't. You can use that whenever you want. Because that's the beauty of transmog. And what happened when transmog came into the game? People started pouring into old raids and dungeons, collecting pieces to customize their character, customize the look of their character in a way that made it uniquely theirs. People love this. This is the essence. It's the digital version of dressing up Cindy, isn't it? Or Action Man or Barbie or whatever the hell. People like to do this with their characters. So then came a question at BlizzCon, which I've already talked about for the people that follow my channel, but for everyone else. Person asked the question, why don't you loosen the strings on transmog? To which Ian Hazacosta said a couple of things which completely contradicted other things he'd said. He said first, it's all to do with the silhouettes. You know, you look like this plateware or you look like this clothware, and it sort of gives a lead into that class, which is a load of nonsense because the classes are there for gameplay purposes to define a set of abilities and a role. It shouldn't really matter for us as players. But also, he contradicts himself with something he said a bit later when he talked about, well, we're already effectively doing this with heirloom gear because if you level up one of the allied races or it's going to be very soon any race, to level cap, then you get the heirloom gear and you can use that on any one of that race. So the Dark Iron, the example I use, it's a good one, the Dark Iron gear, which sort of looks like plate. Now, you can use that on any Dark Iron dwarf. It could be a Dark Iron priest, and there you've got a priest in plate for the second time. Hello, Anduin. So that silhouette argument goes by the by because it's no longer valid for their latest piece of cosmetic content. So why not loosen it completely? If I want to go around, if I want to quest and kill things in a wedding dress and a skull tattoo, that's none of your business. It's none of Blizzard's business either. Put it in the game. And then there was something else that contradicted with something they've sort of said in the past as well. This is a semi-contradiction. So as to the idea, if you're a priest and you want to wear or have the look of plate, a knight in armour or something, then why shouldn't you be able to do that? Similarly, as a plateware, if you want to wear leather, why shouldn't you be able to do that? Now, when these things have been pointed out with NPCs, and Anduin, again, is the famous example because we sort of assume, oh, is he a paladin then? Is he a paladin? Is he in plate with his father's sword? No, he's a priest. Oh, okay, so he's not wearing cloth then. No, because he's special. Okay, great, that's fine, that's okay. So NPCs are special. So when was the last time Anduin defeated a dragon? When was the last time he defeated keepers? You know, dragon aspects, elemental lords, lich kings. When was the last time Anduin defeated a titan? I'm pretty sure that our characters are a lot more special than any NPC in the game. Even the mighty Khadgar Thrall and all the rest of them are nothing compared to our character. So if they're special enough to sort of break that mold, why aren't we? It's an absolute nonsense. So we absolutely should be able to customize our character however we want. And by loosening those strings and allowing us to do that, they could also massively expand on the amount of purely cosmetic gear that exists only for cosmetic purposes. There already is some in the game, but it's woefully, now when you consider how long Transmog's been in, it's pathetic the amount of purely cosmetic gear. And yet, when it is in the game and it is brought into the game, people go mad for it. People go to extents to go and get it. Why not, again, put that into content that means going out into the world? And you wouldn't have to create huge, lavish quest lines or anything like that, although that would be lovely. Again, it could be tied to certain achievements. Those achievements, you could almost have like daily achievements, like completing so many world quests in a week, and instead of being rewarded with some ratty war resources or something, you could be rewarded with, you know, a piece of cosmetic gear. It would also allow them to bring in some limited edition cosmetic items. Just something, this is only available this month. If you complete, you know, some reasonable number, we don't want people on the game all day, but a reasonable number of world quests. If you complete this many world quests this month, and someone who really goes at it, maybe they do it in the first couple of days. Someone else just pottering about does it every now and then, they'll get it after about the month. And you get a piece of cosmetic gear. It's not available after that. It's just gone. That's it. If you wanted it, this was the time to get it. And again, something that gets us out into the world, some other motivator to get those people who are not motivated by the emissary cache. Let's face it, the vast majority of players are casual players, and they don't really need the gear rewards. They don't really need the power rewards. But what they'd love is the cosmetic rewards. Then comes the third baffling one. Now, This is something I've been going on pretty much as long as I've had this channel. And it's something I've been thinking about for way, way longer as well. But for this one, they would have more of an argument because it would actually require a development team. The first two would require virtually nothing extra. It would just require a change of mindset. You wouldn't need more staff to be able to enact it. This next one you would. I still think there'd be a big payout. And I think a lot of people do as well. And that's the simple thing about player housing. So with player housing, not only do you create a situation where, again, people have got this way to customize their imprint on the game, but what do you need with player housing? Well, you need furnishings. So you need to go out and get those. So where are you going to get them from? You could introduce it into the crafting, do what other games do. You could even introduce some secondary harvesting professions. They'd have to be secondary professions. And it could be like gathering lumber and other things like this. And use those with professions to craft certain things. You know, furniture, carpets, tapestries, whatever. And use this as another way to get people out into the world. There could be NPCs that, again, have a rotating stock. You know, we actually used to have this a little bit of vanilla, didn't we? Where, you know, the problem with those ones, like the goblins that would have the patterns and stuff like that on them, with limited edition, you had to wait an hour or so for them to get another one in. But they were always fixed. You just stood outside there. What about wandering NPCs? They had to wander around and try and catch them when they've got the things. Occasionally did one or two of those in vanilla. But more of that potentially could work as well. You could have it with, you could have quests. You know, put some quests in that result in some of these pieces. There could be riddles. I mean, when they've put cosmetic rewards in, people have always been way, way more interested. I mean, look at the extent to which the Mage Tower became very popular. The idea of the Lucid Nightmare, I mean, that was like a puzzle type thing for people who are interested in mounts. But again, the problem is that with these things, you know, if you were like me, if you already had the transmog you wanted for your artifact weapon, then offering other sources wasn't as appealing, because if I didn't enjoy the content for what it was, well, I didn't want that skin. Mounts, I'm not a big fan of mounts. I'm not that bothered about them. I have some mounts that I really like. That's great. I like to get new ones every now and then to swap around, but I'm not a big mount hunter. Same with pets. But if you behind these bits of content put as many different types of cosmetic reward as possible, you're bound to hit everyone. It's what they call in retail hotspots, isn't it? It's like you've all these features, and they're not going to wow everyone. But if you have enough of them, you can, with something, wow everyone, and therefore get them to do the content. And it just seems to me completely baffling, because, you know, I come back to what I said before. 6 months ago, if you were playing World of Warcraft, you may have been getting upgrades from Antorus. They are now defunct, binned, gone. Maybe you've kept some of them as souvenirs. Maybe you're going to use them for time walking in a few years' time when, you know, Legion time walking comes in. Maybe. But if you were going after the Lucid Nightmare, or if you were doing the Mage Tower, or something similar, then what you were doing was content that gave you a reward that you were still going to be able to use in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, for as long as the game continues. And you know that. And that's the thing. You know, only cosmetic rewards give you those long-term goals with short obtainable steps leading up to them. Gear rewards don't. Power gear doesn't do that. It gives you the short steps to get up to it, sure, but the long-term goal is gone unless you enjoy the content for what it is. You know, if you love Mythic Plus dungeons, if you love Mythic grading, if you love high-end PvP arenas, rated battlegrounds, that sort of stuff, then that's fantastic. And those players, absolutely. But the other players are not encouraged because the rewards are not there at all. Other than maybe some one-time achievements. For a nice title, okay, that's something. That's something. But a lot of players don't even have the nameplate shown anyway, so they don't even get to see the title, quite frankly. But they'd see your fancy-looking transmog. They would see your lovely player house if you invited them round to have a look round. And I don't know why they don't do it. But now I do, because I've joked about it. And I think now the reason they don't do it is because a lot of these senior developers were former serious MMO players themselves. You know, sometimes going way back to EverQuest, sometimes World of Warcraft itself. And I've just come to the conclusion that maybe as players they were such loot whores that they don't actually understand the concept at all, that people would be motivated by something that isn't a power upgrade. Maybe they just can't understand that mindset, because it's the only thing that's left for me. You know, it's like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote, he said, when you eliminate the impossible, then whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. And this is the last explanation I can even think of. They do not accept that people are keen on cosmetic rewards. But anyway, those are my thoughts. You let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Of course, if you've got this far to the video, then please give it a like, subscribe for further content, share with other people who might also be interested. And until next time, I'll see you later.